Is Merab Dvalishvili going to accept Cory Sandhagen's challenge? Are the UFC fans happy about Colby Covington getting a title shot against Rocky? Who do they think deserves the shot the most? Let's find out. Marlon Vera calls out bantamweight rival Petr Yan next. After losing the fight to Cory Sandhagen at UFC San Antonio, Marlon Vera has gone on to call out Petr Yan for a fight. Before his loss against Sandhagen, Vera was actually doing well, as he had stopped former two-time bantamweight champion Dominick Cruz with a blistering fourth-round high-kick KO when he went against him in August last year in the main event slot of UFC San Diego. He now has gone on to call out Petr Yan, the former bantamweight champion and one of the best in the business when it comes to this particular division. Yan himself suffered a decision loss to Merab Dvalishvili in his previous bout. After a title loss to Aljamain Sterling in the Paris rematch, Petr Yan has not been having a good time in his career. He has lost 3 fights in a row and is eager to make it to the top again because there was a time he was dominant in this division. Will Dana White see this come to fruition? We will find out soon. Merab Dvalishvili responds to dangerous Cory Sandhagen's call-out. I would love to clean the division. Sandhagen had a good time out there in his last outing against Marlon Vera, and after this defeat, he has gotten more confident in himself and gone on to call out one of the best fighters in the division in form of Merab Dvalishvili. Dvalishvili himself was really quick to respond, and there seems to be mutual respect between these two, as Dvalishvili spoke highly of his potential future opponent. He said,
I love the match because he's great, you know, he's high-level fighter. Now he will be ranked maybe 3. So, and then I love the fight, you know, like this guy, my friend, and then he's the champion for a reason, and I would love to clean the division, you know, I would love new challenge, you know, this is, he called me and it makes sense, and I would love to fight him anytime.
He went on to admit that Sandhagen is actually a very dangerous fighter. His technique is strong, and he has a good jiu-jitsu as well. He went on to add that he is well aware that Petr Yan beat him in their fight and that Dvalishvili himself has beaten Petr Yan, but he still doesn't overlook Sandhagen. He still considers him a dangerous opponent and has a lot of respect for him. Dvalishvili had made it abundantly clear that he is not at all going to fight for the title because his good friend and teammate Aljamain Sterling is currently the champion. He does not want a title shot even though he is currently the #1 contender after beating Petr Yan. Sterling himself has to defend his belt against Henry Cejudo, and about this fight, Dvalishvili said,
Aljo will dominate everywhere, even striking, and then if the fights land to the bottom, even Henry takes Aljo down or Aljo takes down, it's Aljo's game in the ground, and I see everywhere, wherever fight goes, Aljo will dominate this fight.
Dvalishvili went on to say that he has all the respect for Henry Cejudo, who is an Olympic champion and former 2-division champion too, but right now it is Sterling's time. This is bad news for you if you're a Nikolas Motta's fan, because the man was supposed to fight at UFC 287 against Ignacio on April 8 in a lightweight fight, but it is not going to happen now. Motta went on to reveal 2 days ago that he has been forced to withdraw from the matchup after suffering a deep cut on his forehead, which was a result of an accidental headbutt he got from his sparring partner when he was training. He wrote a thorough explanation behind this, as he went on to say that he has gotten this deep cut on his forehead, and the people that are close to him and work with him, they have asked him to pull back his fight 3 weeks to have enough time to heal this, or it would easily open in the fight and they would stop the fight by doctor stoppage. He said that the deep cut on his forehead got very swollen and inflamed. He said that it was a hard decision to make for him at first, but after a lot of consideration, he has realized that was the right call to make, and he is happy with the decision his coach made for him. The man went on to say that he is in great shape and has been in this shape and ready to fight after his fight in September. He added that he has been so focused on his training that he did not even go to see his family at New Year's. The man added that he just needs a couple of weeks and he will be back in the ring. If we talk about his UFC career, he has a second-round TKO loss to Jim Miller before a first-round TKO win over Cameron Van Camp. His replacement for UFC 287 is also yet to be announced. Dana White responds to Leon Edwards, says Usman vs Covington 3 probably would have been next anyway. Leon Edwards went on to beat Kamaru Usman in his first title defense at UFC 286. There was a notorious UFC fighter at the ringside during this fight, and his name is Colby Covington. Colby is also going to be Leon Edwards' next opponent. Dana White has said times and again that he never makes fights right after a UFC event, but this time he seems to have made an exception. At UFC 286, he went on to announce that Colby Covington was going to be the next opponent for Leon Edwards, as he finally gets his chance to grab the gold. While talking about why Colby deserves it the most, White said at UFC San Antonio's post-fight press conference,
"That is true, but that was a no-brainer. I mean, Colby is... If Usman doesn't exist, Colby's been the champ now for a while, and he's been there forever. He cut the weight, he showed up to fill in for that fight, and a million other reasons why he deserves that fight."
Since 2019, Colby Covington has only had 4 fights. 2 of these 4 fights were fought against Kamaru Usman for the welterweight title, in which he of course was beaten by the Nigerian Nightmare, and the other 2 were against Tyron Woodley and Jorge Masvidal. He had his last fight almost a year ago on March 22nd. Dana White was also asked if he had given Colby a shot at the title had Usman beaten Edwards and claimed the title again, and Dana said yes to that too. Dana White has given the shot to Colby, but many are not happy about it, because they think there are fighters who deserve it more than Colby, because they have been active. Bilal Muhammad is a name that comes to mind, because this man has a 9-fight unbeaten streak since April 2019. Paddy Pimblett sounds off on Lil Bum Jared Gordon after surgery, calls for rematch. Paddy Pimblett has been sounding like a whiny baby from his hospital bed, as he talked about his ankle injury and used it as an excuse, saying he would have done much better if he did not have that injury. Many deemed the result of this fight controversial. He fought Jared Gordon in December at UFC 282 and got injured having an ankle injury, but he waited too much before getting surgery, as it was done pretty recently. Gordon himself was not happy about the result of this fight, and Pimblett has recently talked about it yet again. He said, "When I told the doctors it happened in the first round of the fight, within the first minute, and they said, 'Oh, did your fight finish there?' And I was like, 'No, I did another 2.5 rounds.' They were like, 'What? You should have just sat on your stool and never carried on fighting.'" He seemed pretty annoyed with Jared Gordon, because Jared has been telling everyone that he won that fight. Paddy said, "I was like, are you mad? Do you think I'm some pussy? People are like, oh, Jared Gordon did so well. He only done well because my ankle was fucked, you stupid twat. And he's just being a bitter little girl, going on every interview site, oh, I won that fight, I won that fight. Well, lad, Joe Soletsky beat you, but you got a split decision, so shut your mouth."